works exactly in the same way the potion does. You'll see the hearts pulsing down there above the hotbar, and while you're within the radius of this effect, even without full hunger, you'll be able to heal any damage that's been done to you. Naturally, potions have the edge on the beacon in this case, though, because it is not possible to get a Regeneration 2 effect from a beacon, and additional beacons built nearby will not stack these effects, so you can't end up with a higher level of regeneration. Regen 1 is all you will get, which is why it's often a good idea to take advantage of the secondary powers second tier ability, because having speed 2 over speed is going to run the player a lot more speed. Likewise, resistance versus resistance 2 means that you're going to be defending a lot more damage. But it's really where haste comes into play that the beacons truly shine, because haste is not an effect you can get anywhere else in the game. There are no potions of haste, there are no tools that grant you the haste effect, and while obviously we're used to mining with efficiency at this point, haste stacks with efficiency. And the most important thing to know about this, if we dig down a little way around here and we reach the stone layer, is that we are now able to insta-mine stone. So if I hold down the left click button, I'm able to mine stone with the same speed that we would mine netherrack in the nether with a diamond pickaxe. And that's something that isn't even possible with the haste 1 effect. And I'm going to put haste 1 and a regen on here. I'm going to wait for the haste 2 to wear off so that we can demonstrate this. There we go, so now I just have a regeneration and haste renewing in the radius of this beacon, and now I'm not mining anywhere near as fast as I was a second ago, because haste 2 is what takes us over the line between stone having a very short time to break and stone breaking instantaneously, which is why one of the chief reasons a beacon is a desirable thing to have is because of that haste 2 effect, because now we can acquire cobblestone and stone blocks much faster than we would be able to otherwise. Remember in the previous episode where I said I didn't have a great deal of cobblestone? I went mining for a little bit more of it. We spent maybe an hour and a half on stream gathering cobblestone and other resources, and I only really came away with a handful of stacks. Now with this beacon, we should be able to get enough to fill a double chest within a matter of a few minutes. Of course, this does mean we have to take the beacon with us, and that's the primary downside to an effect like this, is that we will need to pack up all of these blocks and the beacon and bring them with us anywhere we want to set up the haste effect, since it only has an effective radius of 50 blocks from the center of the beacon. So we can't now go insta-mining elsewhere in the world without taking the beacon with us. There are now 164 iron blocks making up the beacon base. That is the precise amount you will need to make a tier 4 beacon anywhere, and iron blocks do take quite a while to break. In fact, if you're able to acquire 164 gold blocks do break slightly faster than iron blocks, which does make them a slightly more usable block for beacon bases once you have enough of them, but obviously right now they are fairly difficult for us to acquire, not having any kind of gold farm in this world. I will dip into my resources here to quickly demonstrate that it is possible to build a beacon base out of the other resource blocks though, and that you can mix and match the resource blocks if you want to. I'm going to build a little beacon base here in the center of my storage room, which I think is going to center on this block here. The leaf block above and the water should not prevent the beacon's beam from activating. And we're going to make that out of a few diamond blocks, but also some iron blocks here. We'll place the beacon in the center there. The beacon's beam should activate. There we go. It will shoot up through the leaf block and the water, and as you can see, that has activated the first tier of primary powers. So a combination of resource blocks, even if you don't have enough to create a full beacon base, you can use a variety of them in order to make this happen. Just bear in mind that obviously you're putting your valuable stuff out here in the open in regards to the diamond blocks. If we fly out of here though, you'll see that the beacon's beam now rises gracefully from the farm at the center of my storage system, and I think we might actually fully center that so that I can build the beacon base inside that central area, and that will resolve the problem of what I was going to put there. As long as there are only transparent blocks on top of that, it will have no problem reaching the sky and delivering the beacon effect radius. So we're going to bury a beacon in the floor down here and make sure that that leaf block is moved over by one block so the beacon's beam can come up from the center of the room. But right now, however, we're going to take the beacon base down again. We're going to deposit the diamond blocks back in my storage system because I'm not bringing those with me. We're going to bring exactly 164 blocks, which if you're looking at your inventory is going to be 2 stacks and 36. You will also need to bring one activation item to activate the beacon with, but we are going to take this to an area where we can go mining for stone. And since we already know that there's a pretty substantial amount of deep dark biome below this mountain, we're probably going to go a little bit further afield just to be safe. I think we can set up a quarry of some kind down here in the plains, in the valley beyond where our home mountain is, and I think what we're going to do is dig on down through here until we reach the layers just above deep slate level. We're going to dig down in the safe way, the way I like to do it, by standing on the joint between 2 blocks, digging out one side and then the other, and then hopefully we should be able to dig down to an acceptable height to set up our beacon. And we're doing this in such a way that means we don't end up falling into a lava lake or any caverns that are generated below this point. So we're going to dig down to a height of y8, that's going to be 8 blocks above 0, where stone starts to transition into deep slate, and then we're going to set up our beacon base. Well, that led directly down here into a little dripstone cave, although it's not a massive cavern, so there's plenty of stone in the surrounding walls, and this seems like a good place to set up a little mining outpost. And actually, the first thing we're going to need to do is dig out an area large enough for the first base of the beacon. We need that 9x9 area, and it will need to center on this shaft of light that we've dug straight down into this level with, because the beacon will need access to the sky. So we'll need to place that centrally inside of here, meaning that in the center, we're going to place a column of 4 iron blocks. We're going to place the beacon on top of that, and that way we can make sure that that is the center of our mining operation. From there, we simply need to dig out 4 blocks in every direction, square those off, and connect everything up with a base of iron blocks. Oh, and look at this, we managed to dig into a very small vein, it looks like, of stone diamond ore. Yes, there's a couple in here. Very happy to have obtained that. Oh, and there's another one hiding in the granite up there. Perfect. While we're down here, it's also worth noting that the beacon itself is a light source block. It will emit light level 15 in the same way that lanterns and redstone lamps, glowstone and other blocks do. And while we're setting up the beacon base here, I will note that it doesn't matter if any other blocks are surrounding the beacon base, as long as you make every tier of the beacon base out of solid resource blocks in the 5 materials that are given here as the activation items for the beacon. Remember that this doesn't include things like redstone blocks, lapis blocks, or copper blocks. So I'm sorry if you were hoping to activate this beacon with all the copper blocks you've got lying around. Unfortunately, the beacon won't activate using those. But having built up our full beacon in here, you can see the cave wall is encroaching in the beacon's area, but that's totally fine. It will activate the secondary power. We don't need to dig out a full 9x9x4 area in here. We now have that haste 2 buff. So we can use this haste effect to create what is known as a strip mine, where we simply destroy all of the blocks in this area, claiming all of the resources that we want to, and in this case we're going to take it all home in shelter boxes, where it will be added to our storage system. Obviously you can use this effect to look for precious resources as well, like the diamond ores that we just found while we were digging this out. You might still find some diamond ores in the stone layers. However, it is much more likely that you're going to find diamonds, redstone, and other precious resources like that further down in the world, where unfortunately we will have to stop our insta mining, because despite the haste 2 effect being able to insta mine stone that way, you cannot have the same effect applied to deep slate. Deep slate is simply too tough of a material to be broken instantly, even with efficiency 5 and haste 2, which is actually one of the reasons I decided to moss mine out the chunk of the mountains that we did in that recent episode, even though I had just acquired the materials for a beacon. Although honestly, a hybrid method of digging out a chunk would not be too bad, because at least in digging down with a beacon you would get to keep all of the stone and other resources that you found and not have them all converted to moss. And then once you reach deep slate level, doing the rest of the job with moss would make sense, because you can insta-mine moss once you converted it from deep slate. If you're digging out an area like this underground, make sure you end up lighting the area up every so often, because you'll find that when you walk away to the other side of your dig, you'll come back and find that monsters have spawned. In addition to that, you may find that slimes start spawning in these areas, especially if you're digging below Y40, because anywhere below there, you have the possibility of encountering a slime chunk, a specific chunk of the world where the game has decided slimes will generate if there are any caves, and effectively what we're making here is a large cave. Plus, slimes can spawn in any light level in these cave layers, so the amount of torches we place around here are not going to have any effect on that. However, it can be really useful for locating slime chunks, since slime is a precious resource usable in some redstone components. So we might end up using this technique a little bit later to find a slime chunk without having to look up the location of one using online tools. Either way, look at this, we've now got ourselves so much cobblestone and a few extra decorative stone types besides. We're now looking at starting our second shelter box of material, just so we can take it all home. Like I said, we've been able to acquire basically a full chest of cobblestone or equivalent resources within minutes. Now we've only just begun to dig out this area, but for the moment I'm going to grab this beacon and we're going to take it elsewhere. I will leave my beacon base here since we have an adequate supply of iron blocks back at the base, and I'm going to mark the surface here to make sure I know where this gap is that leads down to our new beacon mine. Let's simply do that with a pillar of diorite here on the plate, which is definitely going to stand out enough that I will notice it in future. Because despite not being able to help us instantly mine deep slate, there are a bunch of other resources throughout the world which benefit from the effects of a beacon, and having haste mining ability is going to make us a lot handier when it comes to gathering these resources. In fact, you can already see where I've done a little bit of mining here, although not with a beacon. Terracotta can be instantly mined by using simply the Haste 1 effect available on a Tier 1 beacon. So we're going to set up 9 blocks of iron and a beacon and be able to mine out a bunch of terracotta from the side of this mesa. Although when you're setting this up, it is worth bearing in mind that a Tier 1 beacon like this, while it's small and is only going to require Haste 1 for us to mine out this resource, it's going to provide the smallest possible beacon radius. So when we end up stripping out all of the terracotta from a 20 block distance from the beacon, we're going to run out of that haste effect if we go far beyond that, which means it's sometimes a good idea to bring a larger beacon base even if the effect isn't necessary, just so you can mine with a larger effective range. Naturally though, this is going to greatly expand our ability to use terracotta simply because we can get hold of so much of it so quickly. And naturally this would have been so useful when setting up my storage room, which is why I mined out that giant area of terracotta in the first place, because we needed a lot of green terracotta for that build. And in the time it's taken me to explain that, we've gotten ourselves 9 stacks of terracotta, which is really not bad. But now let us consider that the overworld is perhaps not the only dimension where the haste effect could be useful, because the nether portal that leads directly to our base is right here in a basalt delta. And basalt is a stone type block that takes a little while to mine out by hand, but both basalt and blackstone can be insta-mined with different tiers of the haste effect. Basalt can be mined out using haste 1, and blackstone can be mined out with haste 2. So if we set up a haste 2 beacon in here, we can clear this area as quickly as we cleared out that area in the cave layers of the overworld. Of course, the major problem here becomes, how are we going to get a beacon beam that goes all the way to the sky, considering that the nether is a cavern? Well, about that. While the nether is a cavern, and if you get high up enough in the nether, there is a roof of bedrock that prevents you from going any further with conventional means at least. Once we're up here in the nether ceiling and looking at bedrock, we can find a place where the bedrock is less likely to have any additional netherrack blocks generating behind or within it. I'm going to pillar up here a little bit and check that, yeah, that looks like solid bedrock below the area that we dug up through. And if you want to destroy any netherrack that might still be lurking within here, you can place a block of TNT which will destroy the netherrack blocks through diagonals and corners, and that might potentially open up an area where the netherrack is generating behind these bedrock blocks. But if only bedrock is between you and the sky above the nether ceiling, then you are in luck, because the beacon's beam can actually travel through bedrock blocks in order to have access to the sky above the nether. And if we are lucky enough that that is the case here, I might be able to set up a beacon base centered on that area with bedrock above it, place a beacon, and the beacon's beam can travel all the way through to the other side. And now if we activate this with an emerald, we get haste, and we should be able to instantly mine out the basalt around this area. Now naturally, I would advise caution, because there are lava lakes everywhere in the basalt delta, so you're going to be mining through some patches of lava. Fire resistance potions are probably a must in that case, but it is possible to activate and use a beacon in the nether to clear out specific types of blocks. Unfortunately, there is no combination of haste and efficiency that will allow you to insta-mine the netherrack blocks of a nether fortress, but it's a really neat thing that we can still bring beacons to the nether and use them. Finally, it is worth noting that even if haste doesn't allow you to insta-mine a block, it will still reduce the time to break of most blocks. So while it isn't possible to instantly mine obsidian or endstone using haste in the same way that it is with other blocks in the overworld, it is possible to reduce the amount of time you spend mining out a patch of obsidian. So if we were to set up a haste 2 beacon here, the sky at the end will give no resistance to the beacon's beam effect, and might even blind a few endermen in the process, and it will even allow you to mine out one of these obsidian towers faster, saving you a fraction of a second for each obsidian block. But considering the amount of obsidian and how slow it is to mine, that will really add up to a significant time save. So naturally I've been dwelling on the haste effect here because they are simply the ones which are the most useful from a beacon, since they're the only one that can only be acquired through a beacon. And there are of course plenty of other effects that you can play around with. If you want to have a permanent regeneration and speed buff or jump boost while you're around your base, you can set up a network of beacons spread out at 50 or 100 block intervals to make sure that those effects will last as you walk between the radius from one to the other. There is so much we can accomplish now that the beacon is part of our arsenal, and this is just the beginning. But that is where we're going to leave this episode of the Minecraft Survival Guide. Folks, I hope you've enjoyed this look at beacons. Hopefully you understand a little bit more about how to use them, where they can be used, and honestly, the sky's the limit at this stage. Thank you so much for watching. My name has been Pixel Riffs, Don't forget to leave a like on this video if you enjoyed it, subscribe if you want to see more, and I'll see you folks soon. Take care. Bye for now.
Oh, the lion attacked. Shit. Fuck. One more try. I need more offense. Or perhaps I should double down on my defense and focus on Teosra. She deals the most damage. Preferably, I'd have everyone have fire elemental damage as well. Does Alma have her skill for increasing the limit gain she gets? I might have an idea, but I don't know if that's worth sacrificing Umags. I meant to buy more nectars. Hey, why is the limit not full? distance. It's an ocean fire up the horizon. Where's the pain? Only pain, only pain, only pain, only pain. Who's me? 1, 2, 3, how many victors can you win? How many turns you plan to last? How many fights you need? So don't you fight for every day you and me are nothing but temporary. Don't you start begging for mercy. When I win, I won't forget, and I shall win, and I shall win, yes I shall win. You're one-sided game. How many rivers can you swim? How many trips you going to last? How many lives you need? I swear, brightening up the door. So don't you stop. You'll be safe soon. Just like the strangest desire. No time to catch, no taste to try. Sugar down the darkness. Don't you deny the pleasure life. How it's going to shine. You're still laying down. It's not so real. The whole really important time.
Oops, whatever. Yes!
Je vois la vie en rose. And the beauty of the song reminds me we belong together in our soul. When we dance, it's like life, it's like life. When you smile, I'm alive, just alive. Yeah, when we dance, it's like life, it's like life. Yeah, when you smile, I'm alive, just the best, yeah, and sharp everywhere. We wanna be yeah, we dance side to side, like light. When you smile, I'm alive, just right. Yes, when we dance, it's like light, it's like light. Yeah, when you smile, I'm alive, just right. When my sweetheart seems so far, I wish upon a star. While I be rosa, and the beautiful song reminds me we belong together in our
Oh. Please. Oh God. Rebel order.
protein.
We buy stuff with money we have available to increase our stats in the top right corner, like atmosphere, health and safety, revenue, and entertainment. When we finish the day, we're into the scary part of the game, where we must finish our tasks for a computer, like printing marketing material and other stuff. Next to us are 2 vents where future animatronics can attack. We finish the task for the night and progress on to the next day. At the end of each night, we find ourselves sitting in a room with an animatronic that can either be salvaged for money or thrown away. We decide to salvage it, and here we must carefully watch the animatronic, the movement, while playing an audio source. If it moves, we give it a zap and carry out the same task 5 times. Successfully doing this gets us the money, but also the animatronic will appear in the vents in our next night. Our first trophy would come from dying to that animatronic I salvaged from the previous nights. For our second trophy, we need to salvage all the animatronics at the end of each night, so we do. The struggle of getting through the night is when you have multiple animatronics. When you use the computer, it's almost impossible to hear them in the vents. You also have this ventilation system running, and if you turn it off to listen, the temperature will rise until you eventually pass out. You're given 1 of 3 resources to use. A motion detector to see where the animatronics are, a silent vent that makes the temperature slowly rise, or a sound producer that can be placed in various parts of the vent. My one and only strategy for this game was using the sound producer in one of the furthest corners of the vent and look at the opposite vent, as looking into the vent prevents an animatronic from entering. After successfully completing each night and salvaging the various animatronics, I would reach the final night and the conclusion to the game that results in every animatronic being burned from the building. Our next trophy and playthrough was only to rescue one of the 4 animatronics, and by making it to the end of the week, we would receive the next trophy. A new playthrough again, we literally had to do nothing. Couldn't buy anything for the pizzeria or salvage the animatronics. Just had to do the regular nights, and eventually our trophy would pop. The 5th trophy would require us to get sued into bankruptcy. We could do this by buying items from the catalogue that had risk tied to them. Having higher risk would result in a chance of a lawsuit, and by spending our money, we would have no money to tackle these lawsuits, giving us the bankrupt trophy. Next up is the Lawkeeper trophy, where you must find the secrets of the minigames. In the catalogue, you can buy various minigames that will also have to be beaten for a future trophy, by the way. But here, we need 3 machines. There are the 2 arcade machines and this security puppet. The first arcade machine is a simple racer game where we must dodge the traffic while travelling at high speeds. On the final lap, we can take this detour and change it to a different minigame. The second arcade has us in a maze where we need to pick up all the fruit by completing this twice, and playing for a 3rd time will result in getting the secret. Finally, the security puppet game where we must play it multiple times without doing anything. The Insanity trophy had us buy this thing. It's quite expensive, and the best way to increase our revenue is by purchasing products that increase our entertainment and revenue. We can also somehow increase our own money by using the 10 play tokens we get each day by playing the minigames for more money. Using this strategy will also be important for another upcoming trophy. After buying the Egg Baby data archive, we place it down and proceed on to the night. Here, we turn the PC off and turn it back on while holding the right stick to get our insanity ending. We're now going to use the money strategy to buy a bunch of item sets. Our first set includes Trash and the Gang, which is all the cheap animatronics, even if you can call them that. The next set is the mediocre melodies. The great thing about completing these sets is that they give you even more money. After was the Rockstars Assemble of Freddy, Bonnie, Chica, Foxy, and a $5 animatronic known as Lefty. The last set we needed are the 3 most expensive animatronics. However, we can get 2 for a very cheap price by buying 2 different minigames, and by spending 10 play tokens on each one. We would get Music Man and Funtime Chica for a significant discount, with the final animatronic being El Chip for the trophy. Second before last, we needed to beat every minigame, and a lot of them are quite easy, like jumping into a ball pit, picking up some ducks, throwing some basketballs. However, this minigame of Gravity Ball Sets was insane. It's a bullet hell, and you die in 1 hit. Luckily for PlayStation Plus, I could upload my saves to the cloud and reset when I ran out of play tokens, as you're only given 10 a day. After about an hour of attempts, the trophy will be mine. To include Pizzeria Simulator, I would have to do 1 more playthrough for the blacklisted ending. This will require us to have a risk rating of 50 at the end of the week. This would be achieved by buying all the products that get marked down. They become cheaper but have a higher risk of liability. By playing the minigames for more money, we can purchase the items, and we hold them instead of place them, as they would increase increase our risk throughout the nights. We would make it to the final night and purchase the last remaining items. Luckily, after placing them all down, I would have 51 risk. Now, all I had to do was get through the night with 4 animatronics and then stick with the amount of risk I had. I just used the same old strategy to beat the game and finally got the trophy. And that concludes Freddy Fazbear's Pizzeria Simulator at 10 out. We're finally here, the last game of the video, Five Nights at Freddy's Security Breach, the first proper 3D entry. 29 trophies available, rated a 3 out of 10 difficulty, one play for roughly 20 hours. This game is built with over 100 collectibles, so we're going to get them while completing the story. We're playing as Gregory, who's found himself locked in Freddy Fazbear's Mega Pizza Flex. Turns out we can't leave until 6 AM. Our adventure is going to include exploring a variety of games at the Pizza Flex and meeting new animatronics like Chica, Monty, and Roxy. It wouldn't take long for the first trophy pop, in which we successfully evaded an animatronic in pursuit. After roaming around the establishment for a bit, I would stumble into the daycare looking for a security pass, but this animatronic son was worried that the lights went out. After successfully turning the lights back on, I would get the second trophy. I also got my first jump scare resulting in another one. Next up, we find ourselves in the prize counter office with the alarm systems going off, allowing the 2 animatronics, Monty and Roxy, to come in. We had to use our classic 5 Nights at Freddy's knowledge to close the corresponding doors and the alarms would fix. After that, we would need to find a party pass to access a certain location for Pizza Flex, where we would have a choice of Monty's Golf or Basil Blast. I decided to go to Basil Blast as it seemed more interesting. I'm sorry, Golfers. Equipping the necessary equipment for Basil Blast, we would win and unlock the blaster. We could stun the animatronics for a short moment. Before continuing, I stumbled across an important event for a future trophy. Wandering about getting the collectibles, I would get another trophy for entering the bakery for the first time. To make more progress in the story, we would have to deal with 1 or 2 animatronics, being Chica or Monty. And I ended up being Chica, in which we had to make pizza to distract them. After distracting, I would have to get Monty's mystery mix and place it in the garbage crusher to pull Chica in. And after taking her voice box, we would then use it to upgrade Freddy and allow us to access new areas. This would allow us to go to Roxy's Raceway, where we need to find a way to decommission her. We find a go-kart that would be useful, but turns out we're not tall enough to ride unless we use a training bar. However, it is missing its head, so we need to find one, but it turns out it's also broken. It needs to be repaired at the West Arcade, which is home to Music Land, an area which conveniently uses power, and we must restore it by turning these 3 switches while trying to deal with Chica and Monty. After successfully restoring power and escaping Music Bed, I would get 2 trophies, one for escaping the West Arcade and the other for playing this mini-game that would be trying to get another collection trophy. Putting the head back onto the training bot, we could then deal with Roxy and take her eyes that will now allow Freddy to highlight collectibles. But we can't get all of them before finishing the game. This game does feature multiple endings. As it's turning 6 AM, we're given 3 options: stay, leave, or Vanny. I choose leave, which grants us 2 trophies for surviving 6 AM and never using a hiding spot. The game reloads to this point from now, so now we take the Vanny ending for another trophy. Next up, we have to stay in the Pizza Flex, which would allow us to get the other remaining collectibles, but also deal with Monty. It's not as easy as you think though. For some reason, they decided to disable every save point in the game except for 1. If you get caught, prepare to do it all over again. Thankfully, due to my obsession with saving in multiple games, I would go back to this save point every 15 minutes. I would pick up many miscellaneous trophies for Dean and Monty, like sapping on the floor in the blaster, breaking 10 dishes, getting the good ending of the game by going to that room in Basil Blast, getting the highest security access possible, getting the lowest score on a golf minigame, loving 4 bots with a single camera flash, getting all the movement upgrades. Instead of all of those trophies, I would tackle Monty and take away his claws to upgrade Freddy even further, which would give us 2 trophies. Now with Freddy all upgraded like in Metroidvania, we could go anywhere. We would find the source of Roxy Raceway's problems, access a secret area to play another minigame, and finally collect everything that would grant us the remaining trophies, and only the second platinum in the series. Finally, that is every trophy unlocked in 8 Five Nights at Freddy's games. After 80 hours of gameplay, I would add a total of 2 platinum trophies and 33 ultra rare trophies. This project of unlocking all these trophies took a span of 17 days, starting on the 30th of September and finishing on the 17th of October. And with that, I'd like to say thanks for watching and enjoy the rest of your day.
Fuck, I'm so close. No. Yes! Oh, I don't even care that Maranduma died. Oh my god, 999 XP. It doesn't really matter if they don't get XP from this. Oh my god, I swear this wasn't recording. Yeah. We get marked by a crown. I am saving ASAP. Alright, my next goal will be to grind to level 80. And then I'll continue beating the rest of the dragons. Once I've beaten the first dragon, hopefully the other two will come easy now. Whoa, 30,000. Whoa. Cool. I'll also need to grind up money, huh, so I can get the proper equipment I need for the rest of them. Yes, I will beat them all in normal. I don't care.